How about Mona? We were thinking the same. Explain. Explain. You just started. Yes, you can continue. How can the second stage of concentrates, of identifying the concentrates in throughput accounting? Analyze. Good. Uh-huh. How about you, Dorothy? Because even when we wrote the processes, you're supposed to identify, you're supposed to analyze, and then um, go ahead. So when we're talking about throughput accounting, then you analyze the um, the the bottlenecks or the concentrates so that you should really know how to do it. So as they told us in the presentation to say, you are supposed to go back to the first identifying of the problems or bottlenecks. It means now you know which one can be eliminated, because they're saying that when you're analyzing the problems, you're supposed to know that this can be eradicated. There are some problems that or bottlenecks that can be difficult for you to eliminate. So you look into that and say which ones can be eliminated. That's the analysis of the problems that you have identified in the first step, and the second step you analyze the problems by looking into which can be eliminated and which cannot be eliminated. So there are so many things that we can think about. They have told us that sometimes something to do with the, let's say, management policy, something to do with maybe inventory, maybe measures. So there are so many things that we can think about when we are talking about the throughput accounting processes. What can be the third one? What can be the third one? So you should what?
Find the
Corrective measures that you should do in order to eliminate the concentrates or the limitations that you identified and analyzed. So those are some of the things that you are supposed to identify or analyze. So in our book, they are telling us that there are so many things that we can think about, mainly in connection of concentrates. Sometimes we can think about the regulations of financial reporting can be a drawback. Sometimes it can be the supply networks that we have in the offices that can be a problem. Again, we can have something to do with the um, developments or reported drawbacks in our offices. So there are so many that the book is stating when we are talking about concentrates or bottlenecks. Sometimes it can also be something to do with the human capital, where can also be something, a bottleneck that can be hindering the process that we want to do in order to find the goal or reach the goal that we want to reach. The first step I've said is what? Identifying the bottlenecks. The second one is decide how to exploit the system bottlenecks, where you're analyzing the bottlenecks that are there. Second, decide how to exploit the system's bottlenecks. To step two, decide how you decide how to exploit the system's bottleneck. Systems bottleneck. Where you are analyzing the bottlenecks that we have already talked about when we were doing that. So when we are talking about the second process, you are supposed to make sure that there are always people involved when you are doing that. So mainly when you are analyzing the bottlenecks. The third step is subordinate everything else to the decisions made in step two. So subordinate everything. Step three. Step three, subordinate everything else to the decisions made in stage two. Decisions made in step two. Step two. So the main point here is that the production capacity of the bottleneck resource should determine the production schedule for the organization as the whole. Remember how in previous article, presentation, that we talked about the bottlenecks. So here it means you are thinking about how you can eliminate or you can avoid the bottlenecks that are there. So they should be avoidable. Others cannot be avoidable. Things like let's say the idle time, that can be also a concentrate, where you look into what is that. Mind you, idle time can be sometimes machines can get broken. People just stay. That's idle time. Sometimes you can think about, let's say, people just sitting and yet they have things to work. So those are some of the things that you are supposed to look into when you are talking about the bottlenecks. So always when we're talking about throughput stages, we should always talk about the bottlenecks or concentrates. The fourth stage is elevate the system's bottlenecks. Elevate systems bottlenecks. Elevate systems bottlenecks. What should you do when you want to elevate? This is the fourth stage of the process. What are you going to do in the elevation of the system's bottlenecks? Elevation of the system's bottlenecks. What can it be? Here they want to tell us that maybe sometimes it can be a problem of machines. Maybe machines are old. Okay, those are some of the bottlenecks. Then how can you elevate that? You can say, let's say, for example, buy a new machine and install. Okay, sometimes it can be involved in connection of, let's say, workers, where maybe in one of the processes of what you want to do, it was being done by a person or two. You say, no, I think this is another bottleneck. What should you do? You should put in other stuff for it to be faster. So these are some of the things that we are thinking in connection of the bottlenecks that we can have. So they are saying the example of elevating bottleneck without cost is probably unusual. Normally, there is no way you can talk about elevation of the system without the capital expenditure. There is no way. So what they want in that process, it means you are going to have additional money that is involved in connection of elevation of the bottleneck. So the fifth one, which is the last one, is if a new problem or a new limitation is broken in step 4, go back to step 1, but do not let it become the system's new bottleneck. This is the fifth stage, okay, where we're talking if a new problem is broken, the problem that you identified, you have now crushed it. Then they're saying we have to go to step 4, where we are talking about the elevation of the subordinate of the decision. So they are saying go to 4 or go back to even step 1, but do not let it become the new bottleneck. You have to make sure that you have really completely eradicated it or eliminated it. So this is the fifth stage where you are supposed to completely eliminate the problem. Step 5. So this is the fifth stage, but in our book, it is written stage 5. If a new concentrate is broken in step 4, go back to step 1. But do not let it become the system's a new bottleneck. So in that stage, you are supposed to completely eradicate it, that it should not appear. But because you have broken it, maybe by going back and see whether it's really the one that you identified, you have to make sure that you should not make it be another concentrate, another problem in the coming future. So this is what they are telling us to say, whatever the new bottleneck is, we should completely eradicate it and never be replaced by another concentrate. So this is what they are telling us, that we should identify those limiting factors. So we have another small subtopic that is the limiting factor analysis and throughput accounting. A limiting factor analysis and throughput accounting. Once an organization has identified its bottleneck, resources, as demonstrated in the step 1, it is then supposed to decide how to get the most bottleneck out of all, and then identify the resources. Given that most businesses are producing more than one type of product, this means that part of the exploitation step involves working out what optimum production plan is based on maximizing throughput per unit of bottleneck resources. What are they telling us? They are telling us that when we have found out the bottleneck, we should know that we should identify the resources that is involved, because when you want to eliminate it, it is obviously that we are talking about the resources involved. And not only that, we are supposed to think about the plan of how we are going to eliminate the bottleneck. So this is what they are telling us, that we have to do that. Throughput accounting is very, very important in connection of management accounting and decision making. Then, what are the advantages of throughput accounting? Advantages of throughput accounting. Advantages of throughput accounting. We have said so many things about throughput accounting, and then which can be the advantages of it. Advantages of throughput accounting. Advantages. Advantages of throughput accounting. Advantages of throughput accounting. What can be the advantages of throughput accounting? What can be the advantages of throughput accounting? Maybe we only have the disadvantages, advantages. Mhm.
It avoids errors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, avoid.
As we have seen those states,
Mhm.
that's like an import
Mhm.
to deal with any problem that can.
Okay, so it avoids errors. Mona, Sam, as Mona is thinking about the advantages.
Helps identify and know the problem. Okay, in short, it
Helps to identify problems. Helps to identify problems of the company. Mona, it helps in decision making. How about it not using GAAP as well as external reporting? Is it not an advantage the other way? Yes, how is it an advantage?
I think it has full compliance with new principles.
Mhm.
So whatever has been adjusted takes into account the general
Normally, a principle or is a guide, okay, is a benchmark. And it's not everybody that wants it. Sometimes there are principles, we follow them just because we are advised to. But otherwise, some principles are not good. Okay? So, in other words, we can say it is advantageous, but it's also bad. How? You are not restricted to these other things, but you are just following what you are supposed to follow. Yes. So it's just a matter of you complying to it. Okay. Disadvantages. Disadvantages. Disadvantages of throughput accounting. At disadvantages.
avoids criticism.
That's advantage. Because the external reporting is not there, isn't it? It's just in there, isn't it? Hey, because normally when you have take care, or other people have known what you are doing, they say, but this is not the way we do it. Okay? But when you are, it's just indoor, you don't, no need. Okay? It's just the same as a family. Okay? When you have not taken what you are doing in the family, it's difficult for other people to come in. But when you are just there, it means, because no external reporting, isn't it? That's what we said. So now we are on disadvantages. Disadvantages of throughput accounting. Wong, in class, 12 minutes to, I will phone you. Thank you. Disadvantages? So it has only advantages. If it doesn't report externally, it's a disadvantage already, isn't it? Yes. Because every accountant, every manager in accounting, you're supposed to report external. How are auditors going to come and check you? How is the government going to know what you are doing if you don't report externally? So it is a disadvantage that you don't report externally. Another thing is that maybe reputation, in most cases, it's not yourself, but other people saying that, isn't it? Yes. How are people going to talk about you? Goodwill is said by other people, but not yourself. Hey, but that girl, is good. Okay? Other people that are saying. So, here, maybe no external reporting, reputation is not there. What can be the other thing?
So it's difficult for those that are not good with accounts.
Difficult to non-professionals. Difficult to non-professionals. So when we're talking about the throughput accounting, it is really difficult to other people to understand that. And in other ways, it is a short-term decision tool, which is a disadvantage, because you can't think about a long term. Okay, so it's a disadvantage. You only base on, let's say, accounting ideas of short term. But normally, when we're talking of accounting, we think about the short as well as long, isn't it? Yes. So it is a disadvantage in reporting, because short term is you can't report within 3 weeks. You cannot. We all only report maybe monthly, quarterly, yearly. So it is a short term to hence the disadvantage. What? What else? Hence a disadvantage. It's only used in short term. It's a you can't report, accounting cannot report within a short period of time. So it's a disadvantage. How are people going to know what you are doing? And how are they going to be impressed on what you are doing? It's not a legal accounting method, is it? It's not, because normally we don't do that. So according to throughput accounting, it is a good accounting method because we are managers, we are supposed to know the methods, but it is something that we cannot, management accounting and that enough, you know. It's supposed to be, it's supposed to have regulations because accountants always will follow regulations, is it? We cannot work without the regulations. So principles are supposed to be followed. But this one, it looks as if it's not a good good principle because every accountant needs to report externally, and it's a regulation in financial reporting. It's a regulation in financial reporting. So that's a disadvantage. Okay, so I think for today we just have to stop here. Okay, stop here. The next meeting we start another topic, but this is what it is all about. If you don't, just sit down. We're going to stop it from here. So that's that. If we are Mona, go and do it.